How's it going, guys? Necromancer Noob with a video game review. We are going to be talking about Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, which is essentially Budokai Tenkaichi 4. And let me tell you right off the bat, I'm a happy man. They did us good. They finally gave us a good Dragon Ball Z game. In all seriousness, we're going to talk about the game, talk about what I like, what I dislike. And if you want, feel free to leave a comment down below of what you think about everything. Leave a like, subscribe. We're trying to hit 1,000 by the end of the year. But otherwise, let's get right into it. Now, let me tell you, all of this is coming from a huge Dragon Ball nerd. I mean, I got all of Dragon Ball on DVD. I got Dragon Ball Z, all of the seasons, all of the movies, and including GT as well. Everything on Blu-ray, you name it. I got a giant ass Shenron on my arm. So Dragon Ball was my childhood. It's still part of my life, even though I'm basically a grown man. But anyways, let's move on from the subject. And don't get me wrong, I know we've had games like Dragon Ball FighterZ, we've had the Xenoverse series, but a lot of those are acquired taste, right? Like, not everyone is into Dragon Ball FighterZ, not everyone is into Xenoverse. A lot of people just want a game like this. And to its core, if you've played any of the other Budokai Tenkaichis, you'll feel right at home. They got the old control settings if you want to go right back to the OG settings. They even got a newer one that's a little more modern, but they have that for you. So right off the bat, that's a plus. This game is just fan service. It is the ultimate Dragon Ball fan service that we've gotten in the past few years, in the decades. Now let's talk about what everything this game has to offer. You have the basic story missions. I say it's basic, but I do actually really enjoy it. I was actually watching a Penguin's review about it, and I completely disagree with him saying that the story is just lackluster and boring. Okay, right off the bat, when it comes to Dragon Ball story games, I feel like they're at a lose-lose situation, right? If you try to do something unique and different, it's just like, okay, this is weird, why are you doing this? If you just try to keep it as plain and as original as, you know, what we've gotten before, it's just like, okay, where's the originality? Like, there's no way they can win. So let me tell you how the story works. The story, you can play about 6 different characters. You have Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Frieza, Goku Black, Piccolo, and you can start up each story separately. They have their missions, like their big moments that happened in between, but there are also a lot of different paths you can take in the story. Like, for example, you start off with Goku, you start off with the Raditz storyline, and when you're playing it, you have the choice of going through the main canon event, which you bring Piccolo along with you, he does the special beam cannon, yada yada yada. There's also a different path where if you go separate by yourself, you end up taking like Master Roshi, Krillin, and the rest of them, but it like basically makes a totally different storyline where it's like there's a whole lot of teamwork involved. They kind of actually just like wipe the floor with Raditz and them. They're prepared for Vegeta and Nappa when they come in. Like, there's a lot of different things and elements. It may not be totally different from the story you know, but it's a nice good change, right? And a lot of it is challenge based. For example, when you're fighting Frieza, if you do the Spirit Bomb, it's going to give the canon event. If you defeat him without the Spirit Bomb, it's going to do a different diverting path. And it's like that for all of them. There's different paths you can take, whether you beat the game or beat the mission extremely fast compared to if you just survive. Like, there's a lot of different paths you can choose and take. It's a lot of still frame images. Here's what happened. It's just the gist of everything when it comes to the story, because to be honest, everyone has probably heard of this story 1,000 times, so I don't blame them for doing it like this. And not to mention, the game can be pretty difficult at times. Now, I'm not going to say it's like Xenoverse levels of BS.
Too bad for you. I win.
Where sometimes like the enemies are just spamming nonstop. Like, they still have their own key gauge that they have to charge up and get their powers and stuff like that. But this game can be pretty unforgiving. I have seen a lot of people complain about going up against the Great Ape, and I'm just gonna say, if you are struggling with the Great Ape, you need to figure some things out because that is just the scratch of the surface. I mean, you start doing the different storylines, and some of those are so unforgiving, like they are cutthroat. So go do yourself a favor, go through the training mode, learn the mechanics, learn how this game works, because on the baseline, yes, it's a beat 'em up. You kind of just, you can mash buttons and just whoop on some enemies, whoop on some players, but that's not going to get you through the game. Yes, you can always lower difficulty, but it's going to limit the like varying paths that you can take. So keep that in mind, but don't be afraid to lower difficulty, and just enjoy the game, learn the mechanics, and I promise this game will be so much more enjoyable. That being said, when it comes to the story, there's cool little elements, like there's a few times you can switch the camera and go to like a first person view. It's not the biggest deal, but this game has a lot of small details and features that just make it so much more enjoyable. Now that just about covers the story missions. You also have a like custom where you can kind of build your own scenarios. You got a few lines that you can make for people, emotes, and it's just fan service, right? It's a nice addition to the game. Not like everyone's going to use it, but if you want to, it's there for you, which is just a great addition. Also, when it comes to fan service and everything in this game, there's a really fun encyclopedia. It goes over all the characters. They have this girl talk where you can listen to Chi-Chi, Bulma, and Videl just kind of like make comments about everything.
And the fusion of Goku and Vegeta. Wait, how is it different from Vegito?
This version is the result of them performing the fusion dance. It's a lot more difficult than just putting on some earrings.
Trunks and Goten had to do the same thing. Vegeta was not a fan of those silly poses.
It's just fun. Like I said, it's the small details that matter about this game. Now, one downside I'm going to include in this is there is a very big lack of Dragon Ball characters like the OG Dragon Ball. They're just non-existent, which it's a weird design choice. I don't know if that's maybe like something in the future they're going to add, but it's weird. I mean, they got GT, they got the newer stuff with Super, so it's just weird that they left that out. I think that would have been a great addition. But anyways, we move on. Let's talk about all the other stuff that they got in this. So we got the story mode, we got encyclopedia, we got the customization. There's a lot of different outfits you can add on people and change. And let's talk about the store. I had a little mini heart attack at first because, you see the shop and you just think, okay, here comes all the in-game monetization where you got to buy actual real money. Nope, you don't. It's all based on zennies. They give you zennies for completing missions, for doing tournaments, for doing online battles, you name it, doing challenges. And it's just so nice to see that they're not shoving it down your throat of like, oh, you have to buy this, you have to get that. For example, with all your zennies, I mean, you can buy new battle music, you can buy theme songs from like the anime, the other games, the specific levels, player cards, voice lines, like commentators. You can switch it all. You can purchase characters. You can also just earn them from playing the game as well. So there is that addition as well. If there's a certain character you want, you can just probably buy them right off the bat. If not, you can probably earn him in a specific way in the future. So they give you a lot of options to it as well, which is just super nice to see as well. Now, I haven't played too much of the online yet. I haven't had any big issues when it comes to the stuttering and anything like that, like lag, latency. So let me know down below how your experience has been so far online. But honestly, I don't think I'm going to play that much online because they give you so much in the core game, whether it's the story missions, the tournaments. When you say tournaments, you might think it's the basic, just, brackets, but they have all the different tournaments from all the different series. So, I mean, they got the Tournament of Power and the rule sets for that. You have the OG World Tournament back in like DBZ and Dragon Ball. You also have like the Cell Games, which limits to the specific characters that you can use. Even got the Yamcha games where it limits you to like, just the weaker characters of the game as well. And there's just a whole lot that you can just sink your teeth into if you're into Dragon Ball Z. Or if you're just a newcomer, there is so much for you to explore and get into for this game. And I'm sure a lot of you are curious as to how the balancing works for this game, because there is over like 180 characters which is just an absurd amount. That was more than like Budokai Tenkaichi 3 had, and that had like 150 characters. So essentially, a lot of the characters are the same. They may be different forms, but they have different moves, different abilities that they can use as well. So it's not as simple as just these characters. That there is a lot of different things as well. If you can transform, your character will probably be stronger if you can transform mid-fight into whatever you want to do, opposed to if you just pick the more powerful version right off the bat. There's also some mechanics in play. If you're familiar with like Budokai Tenkaichi 3 or anything along those lines of DP, which is basically a point system to where, you know, if you're going to play Ultra Instinct Goku, he's going to cost like 9-10 points or whatever the point system is, opposed to something like Hercule, the Cybermen, Chatsu, or something like that, who are going to be significantly lower. So it allows you to pick more characters if you pick weaker characters, opposed to if you have a stronger character, you're going to be a little more limited on the amount you can pick afterwards. So there is slight balancing with that. Of course, there's also just in terms of if the character is more raw strength or speed, if they're due more into their ki blast or special abilities, so on. It goes on and on. Defense, you name it. Not to mention there is a casual PvP. There is also ranked as well. If you want to kind of have some bragging rights and work your way up those ranks, they have that available for you. There's a lot of nice additions to this game. It is just the full package, which you just love to see, because let's be honest, a lot of these anime fighters are usually a big miss, so they really did us right with this one. I had my fingers crossed as they released this game and announced it way back. So it's just so good to see that they really, you can tell they spent some time on this and really wanted to make it right. So kudos to Bandai Namco, and respect and rest in peace to Akira Toriyama, the original writer, creator of Dragon Ball, because they did him justice. But this game just hits you in the nostalgia. I mean, it is literally a sequel to Budokai Tenkaichi, like over multiple decades later. So it's just great to see that this is just a blast from the past in the best way. I mean, the menu is fun. All the menus just have nice little Easter eggs and just fun little details to it. It's engaging. There's just so much to the game. And there's even summoning Shenron from doing challenges. You get Dragon Balls, whether it's the Mechian or the Earth Dragon Balls, and you can grant your wish, whether it's upgrading your character level, if it is unlocking more characters, more outfits, more Zenny, you name it. They have some options for that as well. But like I said, this game is just the ultimate fan service that we have deserved for many years now. They did a good job. Gameplay's fun. There's a lot to get your hands on when it comes to this game in general. They have all the characters that you can imagine. If you want to play like a Frieza henchman, you can be a Frieza henchman. You want to play one of the Cybermen or one of the Mini Cell Juniors, you can do it. If I were to give this game a review, I'd give it, let's say, a solid 8.5, maybe a 9. Now, it's not perfect. There is some slight issues of like frame rate after a while when I'm like playing the story or just kind of going through the menu too fast. Balancing, it isn't perfect, but I don't want it to be perfect in a game like this, right? Like Hercule should have less health and less damage than Ultra Instinct Goku, but that's okay. If I want to play Hercule and want to play a joke character, they allow me to do it, and that's what I want. That's what I want in a game like this. There is a lot into this game, and it's just fun overall. Gameplay's fun. It looks great. The animations are cool. There's a lot of fan service and a lot of Easter eggs and details in this game. Like I said, another minus to this game is there's no Dragon Ball characters like the OG Dragon Ball, which is weird, but maybe that's something they're going to add into the future. But anyways, that's my review of the game. That's my gist of it. Let me know in the comments what you think about this game, what you like, what you dislike, and yeah, that's about it. Leave a like, subscribe. Let me know what your favorite character is. My favorite character, design-wise, has to be Cooler, the final form for him. It's just badass. But anyways, I'll catch you guys in a future video. Bye-bye. Have a good one.